Hey guys, I wanted to show you this little bit of gameplay with Dromai versus Lexi. I thought it would be an interesting matchup just because Lexi is usually very prone to fatigue, and I brought this big fatigue deck list this time around. Uh, so yeah, obviously this video is 52 minutes, and I'm not going to sit through 52 minutes commentary of me explaining how to block. But so we're watching it at 1.5 speed. So yeah, you see me open with a little bit of ash generation. Already made one dragon, and you'll see that this dragon is going to stick around for a long time because Lexi does not have a good way to clear dragons. So that's going to be outputting a lot of ones. And we didn't manage to get an arsenal, which is fine. We developed the board. It's okay. Basically what we're going to do here, we're going to block every single bit of damage all game. And here you see me struggling with the ashes and with the getting the ether ash wings on top and stuff. A little bit of how I want to present things. So we didn't output enough damage to force out the entire hand, so they managed to get Chilling Ice Vein and Arsenal, and are shooting at Fused, and we're going to have to block. So we're going to try to keep the two cards that are most likely to be played during the next turn. Actually, I think I made a misplay here, because I think I'm greedily keeping Ouvia, and honestly, there's not a lot of times where I can actually play out Ouvia, because it's a 2-cost. So this time, ooh, no wait, we actually create Miragai, because they ended up arsenaling and setting up a 6-card turn, which is a good play against fatigue. But we did get a Miragai out. They will have to remove it at some point in the game, so we're glad with this kind of exchange. So whenever Lexi kind of tries to set up, we can also set up a dragon, which in turn they will need to remove at some point. So it's basically always a winning trade, and at some point you only need to block out like 30-ish arrows, and after that they actually have no threats. If you look at the starting deck that we have, we actually presented 72 cards, so we won't be running out of cards anytime soon. And basically every card we will have left in the deck at some point will be dragons, so we will be able to put out like a lot of dragons once we finally ran them out of arrows, ran them out of threats. So we see a Cold Snap that actually can target an ally to freeze, which is kind of funny. Obviously, we don't really like paying for Cold Snap. We also don't really like paying for the Frostbites. So this is not preferred. He ends up freezing the Ether Ashwing because he's planning to remove Miragai, which is a clever move. I'm not sure if he can afford to keep Miragai on board during the entirety of the game otherwise. So at some point he'll need to remove it anyway. And there's a Weave Ice making a dominated Chilling Ice Vein for Zeven go again. And we actually have the perfect out in our hands for the dominated Chilling Ice Vein, which is Sand Cover. Because Sand Cover is an instant, and we're not actually using it to block, so that's actually great. We're pitching Dominia to bottom. No, we're blocking with Dominia. Yeah, okay. We're pitching Dominia to bottom. Blocking it out with Sand Cover. We're still at 40, they're at 36 for some reason. And we're sacking an Ash and creating an Ash for Sand Cover, which completely blocks out the Chilling Ice Vein. And I think they're going to shoot their second arrow at Miragai now. Yeah. And that means we get the Arsenal sink below in this situation. If I blocked differently, I could have Arsenaled Azvolai, I think. No. This was fine. This hand is a little bit worse at blocking, but you don't really need to block everything out every turn. Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. After Sink Below, we can probably transform the Rake the Embers into a better card. Frostbites make blocking awkward. Just a little bit. And I was also thinking, like, maybe I could keep the Rake the Embers, but then he shot an Endless Arrow, and I was like, yeah, okay, no, we're not going to do that. We might just want to block that out. And I end up blocking with Sink Below from hand first, or from Arsenal first, which is kind of a misplay because, like, he could have a Dominate. And at that point, we would like to be able to play. Yeah, okay, there's a Dominate. Except he didn't dominate. So, okay, we could have gotten punished here with a Weave Ice into a Chilling Ice Vein fused somehow. If he has the cost for that, he does. But it's just an attack for 9. I swing back for 1. And basically the same monotonous tone I've been using this entire game against my opponent. I swing back for 1. Which is pretty funny. We see a Phantasm block in his arsenal. Which is also kind of cool because, like, by playing Dromai, you kind of bait your opponent into bringing in Phantasm blocks, which makes their decks, like, less consistent. So it's a pretty fun dynamic there. We block out a Frostlock and pass turn again. Ether Ashwing for 1. And we get the Arsenal Sigil of Solace. There's no reason to play it out now. We can use it later to give our Ether Ashwing go again. We can do Ether Ashwing for 1 go again. And they're actually toxic and they cold snap or flip, then cold snap our Sigil. So we just play it out anyway. It's okay. We're at 43, they're at 34. For some reason, they haven't pushed through any damage so far. So this is a great position to be in, but we haven't seen any of his big payoffs, like 3 of a Kind, Art of War, Rain Razors. So, oh, and there it is, 3 of a Kind. But he's not playing it in conjunction with any of the other payoffs, so, like, I'm not super concerned with this right now. He also has a Command and Conquer stuck in his arsenal at the moment, so it's like, it's not gonna be very scary. I do see an Insidious Shield there, which is actually a really scary card against Fatigue. And we also see the Amulet of Ice there, of course. So, like, he can go for, like, this one big turn where he forces all of our cards out of the hand. Obviously, because we're playing this deck with, like, almost all reds, we won't be able to pay 2, so we actually need to discard. And we won't be able to pay, like, 6 in total or something to get, like, 3 of those procs out of the way. So it's not amazing. It's not a nice position to be in anyway. So yeah. Okay, so it's just CNC coming in. Which is fine. We're basically only taking, like, 3 damage this turn, and that's acceptable. A little bit more because of Shock Charmers. I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to use, like, equipments with the floating 1 resource, but I don't think that was actually worth it. And he also didn't think it was worth it to use Shock Charmers here. And he ends up loading Endless Arrow, which is going to improve his damage output every turn by quite a bit, because he can shoot 2 arrows with Go Again. If I block them out like I normally would, there's still the Endless Arrow following. So I would need to block in a way that I can still threaten an Endless Arrow, like threaten blocking out Endless Arrows. And that's not the easiest thing to do. So basically, like every turn he's pressuring 14 damage, and I basically have to leak like 2 or 3 damage every turn. And turns like these where he has 6 cards, or where he has, what is it, 8 cards because of 3 of a kind, are really scary. But at least he's already through like 2 3 of a kinds right now. So it's at least he's running out of threats for a little bit. He still has like Art of Wars and Rain Razors. Maybe he doesn't even have Art of War because that's not being played in Ice Lexi. But yeah, this turn we're going to be expecting to leak damage once again. And he leads with an Endless Arrow here for 7, which we'll have to block inefficiently. Obviously, we have to block it, and clearly he's going to try and Snapdragon Scalers it. But hopefully, at least we got rid of the Endless Arrow. And then he's following it up with the Bolton shot. And once again, we need to block in a way that we still have our best. Yeah, okay. We just blocked that out. I thought maybe we would block with the equipment, but yeah, it doesn't really end up accomplishing much because you would... Oh. Internet? Oh no, it's a disaster. Okay. Yeah. We took 10 damage that turn, that's a lot. And once again, we won't be able to attack with our Aether Ashwing, unfortunately. But yeah, using the equipment there wasn't really necessary because it wouldn't lead to, oh my god, double Rain Razors and a 3 of a kind. Okay, those kinds of hands are like insane, so you really need to get through that. But like once you get through this kind of turn, you've gone through all of their threats. After that, they would need to set up like 1 arrow first, 1 turn, and then 2 arrows from hand to deal like 15-ish damage, which is honestly kind of fine. Basically, the scariest thing he can do now after this is like some kind of Endless Arrow recurring. Like putting Endless Arrow in Arsenal every turn again, and you already see that there's 2 Endless Arrows engraved there. So we're not super concerned, actually. I think we're, like from this point, I'm thinking like, okay, he's out 3 of a kinds, he's out 2 Rain Razors. This game is pretty much set. And all we need to do is run him out of arrows, and at some point make dragons and kill him. But first we take, I don't know, 6? Yeah, 6. And I need to pay 1 for Chilling Ice Fang. One thing to be concerned of is a potential Amulet of Ice and Insidious Shield setups that he can still do. But it's okay. It's he's probably going to have to take a turn off at some point to set up a 3rd or like a 3 arrow turn. So we're in a pretty good spot here. Channel Lake Frigid is kind of awkward because it means that we basically can't do anything during our turn, and our defense reactions become like a lot worse. So this is also a threat that I didn't initially notice or realize. Luckily, we have all 3 block hand and not D-reacts. That will make things a lot more awkward. And I think this is kind of like an awkward turn for him because he's contemplating to like not attack potentially, or like attack and keep Channel Lake Frigid in arsenal. So yeah, what will it be? Anyway, Channel Lake Frigid, scary card. But basically, usually to keep it up, they will have to pitch such that they won't be able to set up an arsenal afterwards. So, which is kind of okay. It's just, right. It was a Weave Ice. They wouldn't be able to fuse the Frost Lock. So, this kind of attack seems a little bit weird because it's just 6. It does make it so that I definitely won't be able to play anything because it's like, wait, was it 7? Oh yeah, it's 7. Yeah. And I kept Command and Conquer, which I completely don't agree with in hindsight. But like, I tunneled on the thing that Command and Conquer is just like, is killing for Lexi. So like, if he ever ends up doing a 2-card setup or something, or like an arrow setup, or oh no, he has an arrow. If he ever ends up doing like an arrow setup turn where he only attacks once or something, and then arsenals a second card, I get so much value off of the Command and Conquer. But yeah, not the best arsenal there. I think arsenaling Cromai was a little bit better because like once I develop something on board, they can just they're forced to kill it, and they can use endless arrows to repeatedly kill my dragons, but like it's not that efficient because like usually you end up arsenaling one of the endless arrows once again, and you still want to threaten face damage through the same turn because otherwise there's more dragons to remove, right? So yeah, I blocked with Thaw here because I figured we might as well get this Frostbite Killer engrave as soon as possible. We don't want to pitch it away. We don't want to keep it in hand. So using Thaw and Fate Foreseen was the most optimal for me there. Channel Lake Frigid 6 around, and we're forced to pitch one, generate an Ash. So Ashwing for 1. And we still have this Command and Conquer stuck in Arsenal. With that endless arrow there, we're not really expecting to see it anytime soon. And we also got a Frostbite now, so our Fate Foreseen isn't looking that great at the moment. I don't remember if I have a great play here. Bolt and shot for 6. Why do I block this? Is there a furnace play? If I pay 2, 3 for furnace, that's not worth it. This is blocking 5. And yeah, okay, I wanted to cycle away my arsenal card, and I'm leaking 2 damage this way, I think. And getting another Frostbite. Do I remember that? Because the biggest thing for me is that I can still block out the endless arrow at the end. So now he's coming in with a Bolton shot, and I think I'm actually blocking that out with the knowledge that he might think that I still have a proper block in hand. Okay, now I'm not blocking at blocking it out completely, but like he sees 3 cards in my hand. So I figured he won't attack with Endless Arrow. And even if he does, I can still block with Billowing Mirage and Flame Skill Furnace. And by keeping this blue, I get to attack with a Ether Ash Wing for 1. And even heal some back. Setting up a Fate Foreseen and Arsenal. And now our next turn is basically covered. We can just full block from hand again. This is just 5, so we block 5. Keeping the 2 cards that we're intending to maybe play out. I think Yendurai is decent, Kyloria is pretty decent. So, but he's going to attack me more, so we're gonna block more. And maybe he falls into the trap of like us not having any cards to block with, and there we have the Fate Foreseen. So he's sad. I'm happy. We got through all of his Endless Arrows. We got through all of his 3 of a kinds. I don't even know if he has a second, if he has a third Rain Razors in this deck. I don't think 3 is necessary in generic Ice Lexi. So yeah, we're basically through all of his threats. This turn he doesn't have an arsenal. He does have his Tunic counter though, so he could maybe do a double arrow turn and set up a card in arsenal. But we can just block that out as normal, and we're pretty much set for this entire game. Yeah, just a normal 4. We could block this and set up footsteps. Set up 1 Ash with footsteps. I'm just contemplating which card I want to pitch. I'm surprised that I'm pitching Uprising, actually. Interesting. I thought I would pitch Burn Them All here. But that's okay. And he has a CNC to follow up. I don't care a lot about CNC, but might as well block out damage when you can, right? So, blocking 7. Passing turn. Oh, right. I accidentally deleted a card, so I Ctrl Z back and clean it up again. So we see that he's currently attacking us with his yellow arrows mostly. I think most of his red arrows already ran out. Hitting him with an Ashwing for 1. We're not getting as many Frostbites as we used to before, so... And I just remembered that I had a Thaw engrave, so... I don't think there was a great timing to remove a Frostbite anyway. But now there's going to be a few more timings like that. He develops 2 Amulet of Ice during his turn. But that does mean that we might be able to do something during our turn this time around. But sadly, the only thing that we can really do is like Thaw them or something. It's a little bit sad. I feel like maybe I could have just developed the Ashwing from Silken Form somewhere early on in this game and like push a lot of damage that way. Alright, I overpitch for Thaw even, so that I can get the Dustup in pitched and generate an Ash with it. It won't really matter, probably, but maybe it does, so might as well. It also isn't that good in hand. So I'd rather have some kind of dragon. So, ooh, he's setting up Insidious Chill. He actually blocked out there, which means 2 more arrows are gone. But he did set up Insidious Chill, and that's kind of scary. So he's trying to set up this big attack turn where he pitches my entire hand away, so that I don't have any blocks. And now I'm getting Burn Them All on board, which means my damage output doubled from 1 to 1 and 1. So yeah, we we got to the point where we're finally doing a little bit of damage. We pushed like 11 damage through this turn. And we're not expecting them to push any damage, so we're in a pretty decent spot right now. We just go through the motions, block out whatever threat they have, and then they're gonna try to kill me through that anyway. Since they didn't block, that kind of signals that they're going to do something during this turn. This Pulse of Volthaven is looking pretty scary. This Insidious Chill with a double amulet is also kind of scary. We'll see. So Pulse of Volthaven. Followed by Pitching Rain Razors. Okay, so he had a third one. And a blue Chilling Ice Vein. Coming in for 7. I have to discard 1 or pay 1. And right now I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I can actually instant speed the Sand Cover pitching 1. Then pitch 1 more for Furnace. What's the point of this again? So that at that point I generate 2 off of Furnace and get rid of the Frostbite. So I can pay for the Insidious Chill with those 2. And then I still need to discard 1 from both or like one of the amulets. But at least I already blocked 4 this way. So this is, oh yeah, this is where I activate the Furnace and I pay for the amulet, and then I still need to discard for the Insidious Chill. So like I can't do anything about that. Fate Foreseen dies. Maybe I should have pitched differently so that the Fate Foreseen would also end up in my pitch zone. Yeah, because like the erase phase honestly doesn't matter. I don't even think it's good in this deck. I'm not sure. It's good when you can get on the offensive, but like you might have noticed, this deck doesn't really get on the offensive that much. And I hit him for 1 and 1. Yeah, so the block 2 of Erase Phase ends up actually being like a big demerit for this deck, so maybe I'll just cut it. Not sure what I would add. Maybe Chains of Eminence or something. I don't know. Actually, I have no clue. Gotta pay for the Insidious Shield once again, but he's only hitting me for like, what is it, 5? 6? 5? Yeah, so we're not bleeding enough to actually like lose the game at some point. And he just passes, and now we get to increase our damage output by another 150%. Wait, another 50%, I guess. Because now we're hitting for 1, 1, and 1. And I think this hand looks familiar. Did I pitch Tomeltai? Yeah. Basically, we're seeing our decks hit the second cycle, and he's finding like a lot of blue cards. So Yeah, we just block out once more. And you can try to push some damage through, but like it's not gonna do much. It's a little bit hopeless on his side. He's going to get poked for 1/1 and 1 every turn. I could technically take a little bit more damage because like we know that he doesn't have enough threats to actually deal with board, but there's no real reason to if it's against Lexi, because like it's not like Lexi ever it's not like Lexi can constantly keep dealing damage. Like at some point they run out of arrows, so. And like, yeah, he ran out of deck. He only has 2 cards left in deck. It might even be his 3rd cycle already. And yeah, from now we're just going to be attacking with all of our cards basically. He Polar Blasts. He can have the Dominate. It's like, yeah. Maybe he still has an attack, who knows. Oh, he has a blue Chilling Ice Vein. And I think we actually bully him by blocking it out. Can we? Or do I just Dominia him? No, I actually block him out. Oh no, we don't block him out. He's bullying us. But Quell is a strong mechanic. So I can actually quell his Shock Charmer procs, which is a pretty strong play. And it's also like after reacts, so we didn't need to invest in Quell at that point yet. So it's actually interesting because like if at some point in the game he attacked for like with the Chilling Ice Vein for like 4 and I blocked for 3, he would maybe be tempted into using Shock Charmers or something for to get some of my cards out of hand. But in the end wouldn't be able to in the end I would still be able to quell it away. It's a pretty strong mechanic. I kind of like the Silken form. And now we're overextending a little bit because like it's pretty much game over. We're going to make Kyloria, we're going to make some Ash Wings, we're going to make Azvolai. This happens when we finally get momentum back. We can finally do stuff. I think was I supposed to pay for that at all? Yeah. Oh right, I draw a card off of Kyloria, so yeah, okay. And then obviously I draw a card and finish with CNC. Yeah, okay. So this game, yeah, was a fun game. With it only took like a long time. Yeah, generally Lexi is kind of easy to fatigue as like any deck that runs 3 blocks. So as a Lexi player, you should always be careful for these kinds of strategies. And if once you notice that they are on a fatigue kind of strategy, you really need to be setting up those 2-card hands, 2-card arsenals to attack with, and like big turns such as Rain Razor's 3 of a kind and stuff. So in order to counter that, what is this? Okay, but I think Dromai or Fatigue Chrome is actually favored in this matchup because like because every time that Lexi takes a turn off to set up, you actually get to develop a dragon, and they don't have good ways to clear dragons. So in turn, that makes it really easy to to fatigue them even more, like waste their arrows on one of our dragons. Anyway, that was the end of this game. So hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.